Let's just be quiet. Just sit. Jesus, you Long Island guys are all the same. Anyway, I'm going to call this October 2025 meeting of the MTA Finance Committee to order. And may we start with our public speakers. Let's hear the wisdom of the crowd.
We have 5 registered speakers today. We ask that all public speakers adhere to the MTA's rules of conduct and decorum. In the interest of time and fairness to all speakers, we limit everyone to 2 minutes. There will be a warning beep to remind you there are 30 seconds remaining to conclude your remarks. Our first speaker is Christopher Greif.
Almost said it. It's okay. Good afternoon. I'm Christopher D. Greif. And no, I'm not grief because I will cause grief. But let me just get to the good points. As you are with the finance today, I know we had a lot of discussion over the other one. But if we do any fair new changes coming up, we need to be more very clear what the changes are, because for the last couple of days, people are getting a little confused, a little trying to understand what the changes are. At least we know what a dime and a nickel is. But on the railroad end, we just need to break it down. What's it mean for any special promotions, any new things? Because seniors and disability need to understand how to use any new fare stuff on the railroad. So when we get close to those dates, can we please get clearer notices, larger prints, and something really easy so they can understand? I may understand it, but there's some parts that little words, but understanding how to budget, because we have low income does may try to travel into the railroads, but they need to know how they can control the budget, especially with a new fare box, because they do see an Omni thing. They want to know, can they use their Omni card to get the train ticket, or if it's linked to their Omni. There's a lot of questions that some people are confused, and we know we had those protesters acting very inappropriate. People want to learn. I like to learn so I can understand. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Jason Anthony, followed by Mr. X.
Hey Neil, hey Jane, Jason Anthony, the transit guru. Like always, sorry Neil, that's my nickname, and people have to get used to it. But let's get to the meat and bones. First off, what we heard at the Capital Committee regarding the pen access. It's very unfortunate that we have to wait additional 3 years, but Amtrak has to learn that when they get into an agreement with the Metropolitan Transportation Authority, better known as the MTA, and they don't do their part, there's penalties. And they should pay for it. And like I always say, if they don't do their job, pay up. Like every single person that I see jumping the turnstile, either above it or crawl over it, I say, oh, there goes my phone bill. But yet again, let's wait. Let's see if the Port Authority approves next month another fare hike and toll hike, because things are getting very expensive around here, because we cannot even afford to eat rice and beans and chicken. But let's see if everybody in Washington gets into an agreement, it gives us more funding, because we're losing, all right? So I'll see you guys on Wednesday.
Our next speaker is Mr. X, followed by Maddie Bucky's Highland.
You may, regarding funding, you may or may not get your wish with, in alphabetical order, Eric Adams, Joseph Biden, Kathy Hochul, and Donald Trump, a.k.a. the Mod Squad. Okay, finance. Outside Staten Island, we have how many BMT lines? We have 4. Two of them can be combined. The 14th Street line can be combined with the Nassau Street Jamaica Avenue line, whereas the Franklin Avenue line can be combined with the Broadway Avenue line. And regarding the Franklin Avenue line, how can the Franklin Avenue shuttle become the Franklin Avenue local? Franklin Avenue and Botanic Garden stations, enlarge them so they can accommodate 10-car length that leads to in-between stage with Park Place, dismiss it. Okay, and let it run to Coney Island. And also, regarding that track bed that runs between Ocean Parkway and the Brooklyn Aquarium, it's been unused for over 70 years. The last 71 years should have been used by local trains. You need to rebuild that track bed and redesignate for local trains. And also, Fulton Street line, Hoyt Street, unused platforms and tracks, reopen them. Court Street, platform, redesignate for the Fulton Street local. Bring those subway train cars to the 207th Street yard, which is at ground level. That's why, unless and until you do that, the A and C trains will be delayed between Canal and Hoyt Streets. So do the right thing like Spike Lee and follow my instructions once and for all.
Our next speaker is Maddie Bucky's Highland, followed by Carl Pereira.
Thank you, sir, and good afternoon, everybody. My name is Matty Bucky's Highland, and I'm also an advocate for people with developmental disabilities. I first of all want to thank the full MTA board for the fair and full increase as it was necessary to keep the system going and operational. Without it, we would have to face much drastic or bigger fare increases. So it's good to do a small and predictable one. As I like to say, funding is a priority. It would not have been possible, for example, for the DC Metro to go all the way into Ashburn, Loudoun County, Virginia, without the funds that are necessary. So with that, everybody, please have a great day. Enjoy the rest of the evening. God bless you all.
Our last speaker is Carl Pereira.
Good afternoon. I'm Carl Pereira, Transportation Chair of our Neighbors Civic Association of Ozone Park. Back in February 2025, the Finance Committee approved a promotional transfer policy as part of the Queens bus redesign that was implemented in June 29th, 2025 as the first phase of that bus redesign. I believe this additional transfer policy should be expanded to the 5 boroughs and be made permanent, as there are a lot of riders throughout the 5 boroughs that are now traveling from bus to subway to bus, and they need that extra transfer to make their fare more equitable and speed up their commutes in some cases by the additional transfer that's needed. A lot of people need to go to the hospitals on York Avenue. They take a bus to a subway to get out in Manhattan, and they need to take that M31 and its additional fare. Or if they get out in the Bronx, they need to take another bus to another hospital if they're coming from an outer borough, like at Westchester Square. There's numerous bus lines there that even if we're traveling from Ozone Park, you need to take 3 or 4 buses to get to many of the hospitals in the Bronx. So even a 2 or 3-part transfer would be necessary. Another related issue is the new fare capping policy. I think the fare capping policy, they should add a daily fare cap within that. Like if a person pays $6 per day for local trips, all the additional trips should be for free. So 1-day local transfer policy of a fare cap of $6, $3 for reduced fare customers. If an express bus is involved, then the daily fare cap could be increased to $14.50 a day, which is the double the express bus fare. Thank you very much and have a nice day.
This concludes the public comments portion of the agenda.
All right, thank you, sir. Before we begin the regular business of the committee, I'd like to convene an executive session, discuss matters of litigation. May I have a motion to convene pursuant to Public Officers Law 105, Section D. Thank you, thank you. Let us now go into executive session here in the antechamber. Okay, let's just continue. While in executive session, the committee discussed matters related to litigation. Now we'll return to our regular scheduled business. Can I have an approval of the minutes from the last committee meeting? Thank you, sirs. Any second? Second, any corrections, deletions? Please.
I wasn't added as a member of the committee.
Okay. Legal team? Noted. I think you've got an old version of the board on that sheet, your checklist, so we got to update that. All right, very good. Thank you. Okay, Jake, monthly financial performance report, the highlights, please. Yeah, we need to get his volume up, sir, in the back. No. Kick it, yeah.
How about now?
There you go.
All
Good.
right, cooking with gas. Preliminary results through September were $274 million favorable compared to the mid-year forecast. This was driven both by favorable results on operating revenues and expenses. Operating revenues and subsidies were favorable by $162 million, and operating expenses and debt service were favorable by $112 million. For September alone, preliminary results were unfavorable by $9 million. This was due to timing of receipts for station maintenance and local operating assistance. Unfavorability of these subsidies by $29 million offset favorable results for September in operating revenue, expenses, and debt service. Going further into revenues, operating revenue from farebox, tolls, and other sources was favorable by $10 million in September and $34 million year to date. Despite that overall favorability, transit bus and MTA bus farebox revenue was unfavorable by $3 million year to date, with lower average yield per passenger despite higher ridership. Operating subsidies, including investment income, were favorable by $128 million year to date. This is largely driven by favorability in the payroll mobility tax of $76 million. As mentioned earlier, results for September alone were unfavorable by $29 million for subsidies due to timing. Capital subsidies were favorable by $17 million in September and $57 million year to date. On the expense side, operating expenses were favorable by $6 million in September and $56 million year to date. Unfavorable results for bus and subways, driven by higher than budgeted overtime, were offset by favorable results for other modes. Debt service expenses were favorable by $4 million in September and $56 million year to date. That concludes the financial performance
All right, any
report.
questions for Jake? Okay, well, that was, I would describe as a limited variance month, so not much to ask there, so thank you for that, Jake. We'll come back to Olga later. We don't have anything on debt. Let's hear from Jay on congestion pricing update, please.
Good afternoon, everybody. So for the 9 months ending September 30th, congestion relief zone revenue and expenses are on budget, as well as sort of the ridership, traffic patterns for congestion relief zone. So we're on target for all items. Just quickly on the revenue, toll revenue total for 9 months is $507 million, while expenses were a total of $96.4 million, generating a net revenue of $411 million for the 9 months ending September 30th.
And we're on track.
Yes.
On track. Very good. All right, thank you. All right, next to Olga, we're going to talk about a resolution on the obligation for bonding the CRZ revenue.
And that's a perfect segue because that's another CRZ-related item. So Finance has this one action item for you today. We're seeking your approval to submit the proposed congestion relief zone toll revenue obligation resolution, CRZ resolution, to the Capital Program Review Board. Approval by the CPRB is a necessary and legally required step before we bring the resolution back to you for your final approval. MTA Construction and Development is actively working on the 2020 to 24 capital program. And as you know, that $55 billion program included $15 billion of funding from CRZ program. This resolution will let us deliver the $15 billion portion of the 20 to 24 capital program and fund key transit and commuter rail projects in that program. We won't be relying on the bonds alone. I just want to be clear about it. It will be a mix of bonds as well as PAYGO funding, but CRZ bonds and notes are essential to make this funding happen. We already have over $4 billion of 2020 to 24 program key projects, including rolling stock purchases, Second Avenue Subway, Phase 2, and ADA updates, just to name a few, committed to CRZ funds. In addition to new funding needs, we have $1.4 billion of short-term debt that was issued to fund both CRZ infrastructure as well as transit and commuter projects in the 20 to 24 capital program that will have to be repaid or refinanced. The short-term debt, it's encumbering capacity under other credits, and this resolution will help to address this. Just a few highlights of this resolution. It will establish two types of bonds, senior and subordinate lien bonds. This is similar to the structure we use for many of our bond credits. CRZ bonds will be paid from net CRZ revenue. This means that CRZ revenue will first go to fund operations, and then they will be available to pay debt service on CRZ bonds, as well as fund any necessary reserves. CRZ resolution also sets an aggregate debt service coverage requirement and a rate covenant to ensure sufficient revenue generation without requiring toll increases during the phase-in, during the toll phase-in period. So $9 toll, $12 toll, $15 toll will stay on schedule with that phase-in period for these toll rates. To summarize, we ask that the Finance Committee and the Board approve submission of the CRZ resolution to the CPRB. This will maintain momentum on funding critical transit and commuter rail projects with CRZ funding, and as mentioned earlier, we will return for final TBTA Board adoption of this resolution after CPRB approval.
Okay, so we looking for a motion to approve the CRZ bond application, which will be submitted to the Capital Program Review Board. So we have a motion. Who would like it? Who would like to be first? Oh, because, okay. Hayda would like to be first. Melville will be second. Any discussion on this? No discussion. We're putting the congestion relief zone to work, so
Actually, and finally, I wanted to move this thing along, but it was just finally, and thank you, Olga, and thank you, Jay. And, I just asked Jay about the $75 million savings that we got from, I guess, the capital stuff that we did, that Jamie spoke about at C&D. So it's great. It's wonderful that, all the money that we're taking in, we're now pulling
putting
out.
to work.
I'd like to see signs, and I'd like to see the 6 train painted, but, that's just me. But I'm sure we'll get
You
there.
may submit all program suggestions,
No, I think we
projects
should
to.
sign. It just shows people.
I see what you're saying.
that,
Yes, your congestion money to work.
yes,
That's
exactly.
All right, well, that's a good idea. All right,
Right.
we'll pass that as a
Fundraising
second.
101.
That'll be the motion after we pass this motion. All right, all in favor say aye. Aye, opposed, abstention, motion passes. Can I have a motion to have signed? No, I'm just kidding. All right, next to Lizette with all agency procurements. Lizette, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, everyone. There are 2 MTA headquarters items this month for finance approval in the estimated amount of $296 million. The first item includes 3 actions with a total contract price of $209.9 million. The first 2 actions are requests that the board approved awards of competitively negotiated personal services contracts to Metropolitan Life Insurance Company, or MetLife, and Dent Care Delivery Systems to provide dental benefit services to the MTA on behalf of its affiliate agencies comprised of 33,000 non-represented and represented employees and retirees. The preferred provider organization, or PPO, valued at $200.4 million, will be awarded to MetLife, and the Dental Health Maintenance Organization, or DHMO, valued at $2.02 million, will be awarded to DentCare. The period of performance for these awards is 5 years, beginning on January 1st, 2026, which includes 2 one-year options. The board is also requested to authorize the MTA Assistant Deputy Chief Procurement Officer to approve the exercise of options 1 and 2. The current contract for PPO and DHMO plans ends December 31st, 2025. The third action is to add $7.4 million in additional funding to the current MetLife contract for the continued provision of PPO dental benefits for the remainder of the year to cover the premiums of additional enrollees. A 2-step RFP was publicly advertised to identify firms eligible to meet the MTA's minimum requirements for a contract award of dental benefits in both or either fully insured and/or self-insured plans. During the course of the procurement, changes were made to the plan design for non-represented employees in an effort to bring benefits in line with what other similarly situated employers offer and to derive additional cost savings. Following reviews of proposals, negotiations, and best and final offers, the selection committee recommended that fully insured PPO plans be awarded to MetLife and the DHMO plan be awarded to DentCare. MetLife submitted the highest-ranked proposal for the PPO plan, with all of the evaluation criteria taken into consideration, and therefore determined to offer the best value to the MTA. DentCare was the only proposer for the DHMO plan, and both firms' proposals met geographic coverage, matched plan design as required, had high member access, and limited member disruption. Both MetLife and DentCare are incumbent suppliers, so no additional resources will be needed to implement. The second and final item is a request that the board approve an award of a non-competitive miscellaneous service contract for the continuation and maintenance and management support services for a number of MTA data center operating environments that house critical applications, as well as implementation work to upgrade one of those environments to a cloud environment called zCloud. The estimated amount of this contract is $85.7 million. The contract term is 4.5 years with 2 one-year renewal options, which the board is requested to authorize the MTA Deputy Chief Procurement Officer to approve pending availability of funding. MTA's mainframe infrastructure, one of the data center environments managed by Kyndryl, is reaching the end of its useful life, and timely migration to the zCloud platform is crucial in order to maintain functionality of critical systems and ensure compliance with MTA's operational standards and cybersecurity requirements. An immediate operating need was issued for the upgrade, and migration to Kyndryl's zCloud platform and work began last month. Post-implementation of zCloud, this procurement action would allow Kyndryl to continue to provide full managed services of MTA's data center operations over a 4-year term. And the services include providing ongoing system management to ensure capacity and performance, maintaining all infrastructure, systems, and applications, monitoring the system's health, ensuring security and compliance, and backup and recovery on 3 data center environments, including zCloud, PeopleSoft environment, and iSeries, all of which host significant systems critical to our business. And to maintain continuity and performance levels, it's necessary to retain Kyndryl as the services provider to maintain and operate these 3 data centers. And I submit these items for approval.
Okay, may I have a motion? Thank you. Second, thank you. All right, any questions or comments either on MetLife, DentCare, or Kyndryl/IBM? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye, opposed, abstention, motion passes. Thank you very much. We're on to Olga. A couple of MTA-wide information items, yes?
Yes, I have 2 information items today. One is annual reporting on the fuel hedging program, and another report on the investments for the first half of this year. I can give highlights of both items or take questions, whichever way the committee prefers.
Well, I think let's just, is everyone familiar with, I guess Melville will be new to hear about our hedging for ultra-low sulfur diesel, but we hedge against it, some small portion, but we hedge it. And the second is we have investments that have done fine.
Thank you all.
Okay.
Is there anything you want to add to what I just said?
I would
Wow.
say it's a very accurate summary of the highlights, and
Highlight of highlights.
there is really not much to add.
Okay, well, then we shall move on unless there are any questions about the hedging program or about an investment portfolio. I'm serious, if anyone has any questions. Okay, hearing none. Oh, do you want, no? Okay, hearing none, moving on. Lizette, back to you, information items from transit.
There are two information items for transit as follows. The first is a request that the board approve the award of a one-year estimated quantity contract for sole source replacement parts required for agencies to operate and maintain their respective fleets of buses manufactured by New Flyer to the Aftermarket Parts Company, LLC, DBA, NFI Parts. The second item is a request for board approval to exercise the option of the contract for the purchase and delivery of 25 diesel battery hybrid locomotives awarded to Motive Power, Inc., and procure 45 additional diesel battery hybrid locomotives. And there are no information items for Long Island Railroad, Metro North, or Bridges and Tunnels this month.
Any questions on those information items as Lizette has offered? Okay, thank you. We'll finish with David, our real estate maven, providing us several actions and an information item. David, the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Real estate has 4 transactional action items for consideration and approval. The first is for the MTA, and it's a lease renewal with 110 Bush Terminal owner for the MTA New York City Transit Museum's archives at 882 3rd Avenue in Brooklyn. The next two, second and third, are for the MTA Long Island Railroad, and our lease renewals for the Office of Health Services. There are 2 condominiums that they currently office in, and part 1 is with Marseille Properties, and part 2 is with Dasso. Both are in 300 Old Country Road. EAP is co-located in this facility, but in a 3rd condominium, and we'll be bringing that action by year's end. The 4th item is for MTA Metro North Railroad, and it is the disposition of property to the Tarrytown Municipal Housing Authority, property located next to Tarrytown Station. And there is one information item, which is the report on agreements entered into directly by the Real Estate Department pursuant to board policy.
Motion to approve. Thank you, Hayda. Second. Thank you, Melva. Any questions on these items? David, I have one question. Could you just, what is when you say disposition of property to the Municipal Housing Authority, what does that mean?
Originally, we had come to the committee last year. They wanted an easement for parking associated with housing. Then they said, well, what we want to do is we would like to convey it to a third party, and the Public Authorities Law would not allow that. So they said, we'll take it in fee. So if they take it in fee, then they can do what they want with it. But we had to go to the chamber and the state attorney general to get approval to sell the property for less than the appraised value, which is $190,000.
So it went from us to the Housing Authority to a third party?
It will go from us to the once the board approves us to the Housing Authority, and then they will dispose of it for housing
That sounds like a
purposes.
really good price to be next to the train station for $190,000. I won't get into it. Anyway, motion and second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, abstention, motion passes. Any new business for the committee? Hearing none. Motion to adjourn. Adjourned is what? See you.